gatekeeping is my mission.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot gatekeep. So that simply said is what I'm doing to make sure that there's a pathway for other women and men, whatever that looks like, to get in these spaces where we need to have a voice.
And helping us see that I might not get there, but if you got there, I got there.
Yep. Just like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Terri.
Okay.
I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
Double Dutch me.
Come on now. So I'm gonna tag on to
Of course you are. Go ahead. Do it.
And what she said. But I'll say the mentorship and sponsorship is definitely huge and key.
Right.
But on the other side of that is making sure that your board of advisors are people that are in spaces that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
So, and my board of advisors don't all look like me. So I'm for whoever's for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you see that in how people interact with you. So don't ever limit yourself and your opportunities to just Black folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Speak on it.
yeah, there are others who are rooting for you. I said my board of advisors looks like, a rainbow coalition. It's different folks in different areas, and then I try to advocate the same.
This episode is brought to you by Sabady & Company. Sabady & Company specializes in construction litigation, securities litigation, and complex business disputes. It's always personal. Thank you, Sabady & Company, for your support. Go ahead and hit that follow button. We would love to read your comments, and don't forget to like and share.
On Making Black History Today, we're joined by the dynamic Terri Thomas, Vice President and Business Development Manager at J.P. Morgan Chase and Company in Dallas, affectionately known across the city as the Chase Lady. Terri is a dedicated ambassador and vital link between Chase and the communities she serves. She leads the charge in advancing underserved communities with the tools to improve financial health and build generational wealth. Driven by a proud family legacy of Black entrepreneurship, Terri empowers small businesses and families through workshops, partnerships, and community programs. Her work goes beyond banking. It's about changing lives and making history right here in Dallas. We're also joined by Tiffanie Rice, a proud South Dallas native who has built her career driving strategy, cultivating relationships, and fostering economic empowerment, all while giving back to her community. With over a decade in financial services, she has led major initiatives in human resources, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and corporate social responsibility. Today, as Vice President and Regional External Affairs Manager at Comerica Bank, Tiffanie directs philanthropic investments, community development, and small business engagement across North Texas. A proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Tiffanie holds leadership roles on several nonprofit boards and advisory councils, embodying excellence in service and impact every step of the way.
Welcome to Making Black History Today. I'm your co-host, Liz.
And I'm your co-host, Porter, and we are so excited to have two legacy builders in the building today, Terri Thomas and Tiffanie Rice. Welcome, y'all.
Hey.
Welcome, ladies.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
Can I get some money?
Let's talk about it.
All right, since we're talking about it, let's talk about how the two of you got into banking. What led you down the financial road?
You want to take that one first?
Sure. Yeah, for me, it wasn't anything that I intentionally planned on and said, oh, I'm going to be in banking. I kind of fell into it, but loved it. And I started out in marketing when I graduated from college, and I was a marketing director, managed a call center, did all the things. And then they were going out of business. And so I could see the writing on the wall. One of the reps that I worked with that did advertising for me had gone to work with another financial institution. And he's like, Terri, I think you would like this. And so I started there and have not looked back. Been in banking almost 30 years now.
Wow. Wow. All right.
Good.
That's awesome. So I didn't want to be a banker either. That just wasn't something that I saw for myself. And it's funny, most times when you ask people in banking, did you see yourself in banking? They say, no, not really. So for me, I went to school for marketing. I came out and I actually started the first probably 5 to 7 years of my career in retail management.
Okay.
I had worked in retail prior to and was very adamant about getting in there, kind of going through their career pathways. A lot of my experience was in human resources. And so I went from working at a Target and then at a JCPenney.
Oh, that's a dirty word right now.
It is a dirty word. I'm glad I'm going now. And I
See, I wasn't going to say nothing.
JCPenney and came into banking. And so for me, I didn't take the traditional path. I wasn't in a retail center. I wasn't in finance or accounting, but I took my human management experience and came into banking. And so going from doing generalist HR work to talent acquisition, campus recruiting, to DEI and to CSR where I am now. And so similar to Terri, once I got into banking, I realized before we started talking about essential roles and industries, how essential this space was and is to community. And so I'm here now, and I'll say I'm a banker, y'all.
Yes, you are.
Right.
All right. So, not really, this not been the path that you all picked, but from the things that I know about both of you, you're very passionate about it. So what is the driving passion behind your community focus, and what are the 1 or 2 core programs you manage that you feel are making the most tangible difference right now, especially with all the challenges we're facing?
Yeah.
So I'll start. For me, the thing that I really love is impact, right? And so when you think about community, you think about the ecosystem. And if we have that good financial foundation for our entrepreneurs and for our community, then we're able to have money in savings. We're able to grow our business. And then when we grow our business, we're able to hire people from the community. Then when we're hiring people from the community, they're saving money. And then when they're saving money, they're able to buy a house. Then when they have a house, they can create generational wealth and legacy for their family because now they have something to lean into that they own. And then when they own that home, it starts that cycle again. And so I feel like financial education is the foundation for growth and elevation for communities. And so when everything works, it's a beautiful cycle. And so we've got to make sure that we are putting in the work and providing the information to create those cycles.
You sound like a banking preacher.
Hey.
Over there, amen.
Come on, ecosystem.
Come on, eco socio-economics. Build on it. Go ahead, Tiff. I know you got something to say.
Yeah, so I'm thinking really on the impact part for me. So when I'm often asked, like, what is your why? And I think about the work that I do, I was the person, the little girl, growing up in the low to moderate income areas that didn't necessarily have the clear path or the resources. And so I always go back to when I was a little girl, looking outside my door or where I grew up, I always saw a lot of what I didn't want to become. And I knew that. So for me, the mission was always, what do you want to become? And how is that going to be a game changer for the communities where you grew up? And so it's not by coincidence and it's not by happenstance. I always think of it as a chargeback, right? To be in this seat where I am now, to be able to provide the education, the empowerment, the access to capital, really human basic needs, right? In order to have that self-sufficiency. And so again, I always anchor mine on my why, because I'm like, it's full circle to be able to come from the same neighborhoods where I'm now able to reinvest those same tools, strategies, and support that I once needed in my family and my people. So that's my why.
Come on, Phyllis Wheatley.
Let me go.
You hear me?
Y'all on fire over there. Hey, Hey, ladies, again, thank y'all for being on the show with us today. I have a few questions. Just want to jump right into it and ask you guys how you're feeling today. Y'all good?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Can we talk about something that I have coined this week since I've been kind of studying this banking thing?
Right.
I have come up with a term that I hope you guys will like, and it's called BWB. You know what it is? Banking while black.
I knew you was going with it. Banking while black. All right, come on, let's talk about it, Liz.
So let's talk about it from a historical standpoint. I'm looking at numbers and crunching information into AI, which is largely becoming one of my great resources or go-tos. And I want to talk about how we see banking unfolding. We know that there are, in general, 4 big banks in the United States. We've got J.P. Morgan Chase leading the charge, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citibank. Historically, for banking while black, approximately 2% of bank loans go to Black Americans. That seems to me, just off the rip, like, why is that percentage so low? And I know you ladies can inform us on why you believe that those numbers are so low. So I wanted to have that discussion with you. And again, this is coming from a recent stat from AI. I just plugged in the information, and it says these things: disparity in access to credit and financing. It talks about the history factor or the historical factor, economics and the impact, crunches the data sources from the Federal Reserve and from a Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, and then goes into current trends and efforts and those types of things. So again, what are your opinions about the disparity in the number of loans that actually go to Black Americans?
So I'll start. First, I'm going to say, Liz, that question wasn't in my prep question.
Yeah,
but
we probably get that.
We gonna talk about it anyway.
About it.
So let me do my disclosure. What's about to come out of my mouth is the opinion of Terri Thomas. I do not represent. Well, I work for Chase, but these are not Chase's opinions. Anything I'm saying is Terri. So we got that out the way.
Now let's work.
Now let's talk.
Let's cook.
Hold on. Let's go. We cooking. So now we cooking. So banking while black. Historically, absolutely. There have been disparities. That is it's a fact, right? You can't question that. You can see, right, from historical lens. However, I'm talking about today and moving forward. So what's needed, you talked about me preaching, and I will say the financial foundation, right? So I can't fix what has happened before, but if entrepreneurs and individuals are equipped to understand what it means to be bankable, what do you need? What is the bank looking for? Then we can move forward, right? Credit is not black or white or Hispanic or any other color. It's black and white. Numbers don't lie. People lie. Numbers don't. Right? So if I can get on the front end an individual, student, adult, child to start understanding and protecting their credit, because credit is money, early, then that will help to prevent those barriers to lending. Because if you have a 700 plus credit score, I don't care if you're a purple baboon. If you meet the qualifications, you meet the qualifications.
I got a visual.
Right? Well,
except I got the visual on the backside.
I wasn't intending for that. I wasn't intending
It
that.
happened. It did happen.
I can't unsee it.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So yes, there have. I'm not here. I'm not going to argue with anybody. I'm going to say, yep, you're right. Historically, we can't dispute that. But what we can do is try to move forward with the correct resources and the tools to prevent that, so that it's not a barrier. And then when you go to the bank, you understand your financials, right? Because COVID, did that not blow wide open?
Yeah.
That we do not have an understanding of our financials and our paperwork. So, of all things, let's get an understanding. So that's the first.
Okay.
So what I speak to is how do we move forward?
Mhm.
And those are the resources and things that I'm glad that I work with JP Morgan Chase, because we do offer those resources and they're free,
Mhm.
right? Individuals can go to a bank, they can ask for a financial health checkup, whether you're a Chase customer or not. You can get the information, you can have the conversation, you can do the credit check where they're able to give you credit journey, and that's going to tell you, where are you? It also gives you things that you can do to improve your credit score. I've used it. I increased by 11 points. And so,
Hey.
right, it
Mhm.
gives you those tools and resources. So, yes, banking while Black, historically, in the past, there have been barriers, undisputable. But how do we overcome those barriers? How do we remove barriers? It's with that financial education piece. And that's going to start with understanding the why. What are the things that go into the cake that you need to get the funding and the financing? And that's going to be understanding your credit. What are the 5 areas that impact your credit? Your payment history, your credit utilization, all of the different things that go into that you need to understand so that you can have a positive impact. So when you go into the bank, you can find that out. And then you also need to ask, if you get declined, why?
Mhm.
Because there was a report, Dallas Entrepreneur Center did some research, and it found, I want to say 40 to 50% of individuals got a no and then don't understand why they got the no
Mhm.
and didn't come back to find out. So we've got to be curious about our own information, right? Because nobody's going to do you like you going to do you.
Mm.
So if you get a no, find out why.
That'll preach.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me. Tiff, what you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, like she said, it's very historically proven that this has been our hard truth and reality, right? But honestly, when we think about how do we move forward, and I think that banks are trying to not necessarily right the wrongs, but taking what we've been given to mold and create a better environment and situation where access to education, capital, and resources isn't so hard. The barriers, I feel, are starting to soften because we are being more intentional about how we show up. And there's 2 things for me. One, it's not new, but every financial institution, we operate under the Community Reinvestment Act, right?
Mhm.
And so we know that that was put in place because of the things that were happening historically. And so when we show up, we're showing up because of the essentials that Terri spoke about, needing to make sure that we're educating those who don't have that access, that we're providing exposure to credit, and that we're also providing lending opportunities that work for people where they are. And so I think that the 2 things that always come to mind really is the access, but then also once you have the access, how do you treat the opportunity to it, right? Because we do a lot of educating, we do a lot of partnering with nonprofits and trying to lean in within the ecosystem to drive the work. But then I think the next step for those who we're engaging is, how do we get you to really lock in on the opportunity to move forward? And a lot of times I feel like historically there's been fear. So there's a lack of trust, there's a concern about, at the end of the day, where's the fine print, who's going to come out of the off the stage from behind the curtain saying that something's happened, right? And I think that we have to do our due diligence to continue building that trust with our community, to let them know that credit is not just critical, but it's absolutely something that's available to us when we're prepared, the way that we're supposed to show up. And if I can just say that, and this is, again, not a Comerica statement, we have to make sure that when we have people, resources at the table that's opening the door, that when
Want to partner or contribute financially to the success and growth of this amazing podcast? Learn more by going to our website at www.makingblackhistorytoday.com or email us at impact@makingblackhistorytoday.com.
we need to be prepared to come to that table to talk business. So that's just my 2 cents. I think Terri covered a lot of grounds, but I really want to press upon the readiness and taking advantage of the opportunities once that trust has been established.
And I'm going to latch on to that, not walk through it, but run through it. You talked about moving forward, and let's talk about in community development, it can be hard to measure real change. How do you define and measure the true success of your programs? Are you tracking home ownership rates, business survival rates, or perhaps something else entirely to measure success?
Yes, I would say all of the above. And again, numbers are real. We look at data every day to make strategic decisions about how we move. Do we open a financial center, a banking center? Do we plant, capital, grant funding, philanthropic, programming in this area? So I think, yes, it's a hard yes that we look at the data. But when we look at our work, when I look at the work that we're doing specifically, I know that you have to plant seeds and water them and nurture them before something comes to fruition. So a lot of times, on top of the data, it's the qualitative information that we're gathering. It means so much to hear participants of our educational workshops, those who are now going to Comerica Business HQ, which is a no-cost co-working environment for small businesses, when they tell me that they just got that next contract, when they tell me that they just took their revenue from where it once was to an increased place, or when they say that I walked out of that educational session and was able to go tell my grandmama and them, so that those are the things that also are a testament to the impact of the work. So yes, the numbers, the data is very important, but I think we also step back to engage those who we reach, to ask them, how is this transforming you? Are we making a difference, right? Because again, data is great, but we need to understand qualitatively, how is this impacting you? Was it even relevant? So that's how we function.
The state of Texas has about a 1% economic revenue chain for Black businesses in the whole state of Texas.
Right.
And they say that number is approximated. How do your banking institutions broach the model of changing that reality? Because we're talking about a reality here, and not a reality from even last week. You can pull that up today, and it's in play. I know we talk about passionately creating avenues for Black businesses, Black people, and all of those things, but there are some elements that are discouraging when you look at numbers like approximately 1% in revenues. And you ladies are passionate about what you do, and I applaud what you are doing individually, but how do your banking institutions approach changing the model in their philosophical aspects at those big board meetings? Because history and the numbers are not deceptive. Right. They're telling a story. So I wanted to and jump in. Look, Terri, I know I see you ready.
Look, BWB. Like double dutch. I was about to say. I feel like that question was a spirit from Uncle Charles, Uncle Charlie.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mr. O'Neill.
I got you.
But I will say, as far as like the policy and those things, I don't have a seat at those tables.
Right.
Right. When I am out in the community, I escalate. I provide information of what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, in ways and things that I think can be done to be relevant, to help. But I will say, on the backside, right, we may not be able to, being us, go in and say, hey, we're going to change these criteria on how to get this lending. Because at the end of the day, right, it's still a for-profit business, right?
Sure.
So banks are in the business to make money, right? It's not a for-profit. We're a for-profit business. But in saying that, we do have nonprofit arms, right? So we have our philanthropy that will support organizations that do the work to help give guidance and information to businesses so they can increase those percentages, so they can move the needle on the revenue. And so we maybe are supporting, and we also do, we have our policy centers too, where we will advocate for entrepreneurs if there are things that are coming out from government that may not be beneficial for the entrepreneur community, right? We have policy centers that advocate and do things along those lines, as well as our philanthropic side that will help with the nonprofits that provide the teaching and the training and the contracting, the different things there, as well as we also have our Coaching for Impact program, which I absolutely love. It's a free program for entrepreneurs. Again, you don't have to be a Chase customer to get the benefits of the program. And what you'll do is, and what you'll receive, we have 3 in Dallas-Fort Worth that support our entrepreneurs. They take you through a mentorship program. They'll do a SWOT analysis with you, see what your strengths are, your weaknesses, all the things. They also will look at 5 different areas, and then they'll pick 2 to 3, and they'll mentor you up, move you up a level in those areas, right? Because the goal is to, if you're at 100,000 annual revenue, let's get you to 200,000. If you're at $1 million annual revenue, let's get you to 2 million. And then providing and giving you access to the resources of Chase. We do pop-ups at our campus in Plano all the time. And so when those individuals that have products and services are mentored, we get them into our Chase ecosystem, and then they have the opportunity to come out, and we have 14,000, I believe, employees in DFW. They have access to that, where they're able to have the benefit of that.
Tiff, you want to jump in?
Yeah. So I think for us specifically at Comerica, when I think about that question, it brings me back to a couple of initiatives. So we have Comerica Business HQ, which I mentioned a little earlier, and that has been an operation for the last 2 years where we've served over 7,000 individuals at this point, hundreds of educational programs. We go out of our way to make sure that we're vetting the right capital partners that are on site there every day of the week. And that part for us is very important. So we, along with other financial institutions, have a mission, whether it's through our philanthropic arm or not, to partner very closely with CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions. I'll start there because oftentimes when we're talking about lending and we're talking about credit, someone who's not yet traditionally ready for a bank loan or conversation, CDFIs exist as a financial partner to get those individuals ready. And we work closely. So if there's something we see that may be too much of a high risk for us to take on, we'll redirect them to a CDFI partner that will provide the capital and get them ready, get that business credit up. And so they're just one example. But then also we infuse dollars into minority depository institutions, right? So those are our ways of making sure that we're investing in the right partners to prepare small businesses for capital readiness. But then also when we think about revenue generation, to make sure that we're giving them capacity to reach that next stage at every stage. We do a lot of work with Score Dallas, Chambers, you name it. There's a lot of organizations that are in the ecosystem where we try to lock arms to get them, again, ready for where they're trying to go. And I think that that's been something that we've stood on heavily. We're more of a regional bank. So our total FTE at Comerica is probably 8,000 individuals.
FTE?
Full-time employees. Versus Terri said in Dallas alone, they have 14,000, right? So you see the difference in size. So for Comerica, we're very much a relationship-driven model that started as a very small ma and pa size bank helping small businesses. And so we like to think of ourselves as an organizational size that can give you all the corporate support and resources, but we're also like still tapping your your shoulder and inviting you to cookouts, right? Because that element is very important to us when we think about our small businesses. The last few years, we also established our small business division specifically because we recognized that there was a difference in product and service between your consumer client and your business that's starting off. So I think that we are trying to be more innovative in our reach to support these nonprofits getting to a profitable place and sustainable place.
Let's shift gears for a second. As high-level Black women executives, you've navigated the complex financial sector. What was the biggest systemic challenge? Not necessarily a personal hurdle, but a structural barrier that you've had to overcome, and how are you now actively working to dismantle that barrier and provide support for the next generation of Black leaders coming through the financial space?
Well, you can start.
So one structural barrier that comes to mind immediately, the industry, right? If you look at the industry, it's always been very heavy
White male. I'll help you.
dominated, white male dominated. And so being a woman of color, trying to navigate, right, through what has systemically been this structure, I think that it's been one that hasn't been easy necessarily. And so specifically for me, our organization, we obviously work towards trying to have more representation at certain levels within the organization. I think it's easy, not even just in financial institutions, but organizationally anyways, where you see a lot of people of color in certain socioeconomic statuses that are positioned well at a certain tier of the organization, but then trying to get to the more decision-making strategic roles has always been a gap. And so for me, my mission has always been, since I've elevated, and it's a marathon, y'all. It's not a destination. I ain't made it by any means.
Right.
I'm still trying to get to where I feel I'm being led to go, but it's my mission at the same time to be a mentor and to be a sponsor from my seat for other women, other Black colleagues that look like me, to show them that this is possible, that it is a pathway for us, and we have to make sure that we're always showing up. And it's a responsibility. I think oftentimes because we're few that it can be, and if I can say it, historically crabs in a bucket, right? Thinking that it's not enough space at the top or
For
even in the
everybody.
middle
Come on
because
now.
of things bottlenecking. And for me, it's important to make sure that I am very connected to those who are still looking to grow in their career. Again, whether it's having a one-off conversation, whether it's sharing all of my steps and what I've gone through to get there, not gatekeeping is my mission. We cannot gatekeep. So that simply said, is what I'm doing to make sure that there's a pathway for other women and men, whatever that looks like, to get in these spaces where we need to have a voice.
And helping us see that I might not get there, but if you got there, I got there.
Yep. Just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, go ahead, Terri.
Okay.
I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
Man.
Double dutching again.
Come on now. So I'm gonna tag on to
Of course you are. Go ahead. Do it.
and what she said. But I'll say the mentorship and sponsorship is definitely huge and
Right.
key.
Right.
But on the other side of that is making sure that your board of advisors are people that are in spaces that you want to be, right?
Okay.
So, and my board of advisors don't all look like me. So I'm for whoever's for me. So, but you see that in how people interact with
Right.
you. So don't ever limit yourself and your opportunities to just Black folks, right?
Mhm.
Because
Speak on it.
yeah, there are others who are rooting for you. I said my board of advisors looks like, a rainbow coalition. It's different folks in different areas, and then I try to advocate the same. If I see someone doing something well, then I'm an advocate for you, especially if you're for me, I'm for you, and we can get there together, right? You want to You want to go somewhere by yourself, you'll get there fast. You go with a bunch of people, you'll get further. And so I want to go as far as I can go with the people that I can go with. So that's kind of my look on that.
So what I hear you saying is, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just wanted to add something to what Terri just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my mentors right now is a Caucasian male in banking at a very high level. I think we have to also, in industries where we're few, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? And I think a lot of times we kind of shrink ourselves, or we won't move a foot because of the discomfort, knowing the cultural differences, knowing
imposter syndrome,
all of that, right? And I think that it never goes away because you know mentally what the barriers and stuff may be, but when you're willing to get uncomfortable and forging relationships that are different, it really truly does help your professional development. And it also gives you more perspective, right? And you start to have more grace in your lens and just a lot of things. So I love that Terri said that. I didn't want to take up too much, but
because you don't know what you don't know. And so coming from another culture or another background, or some people that I work with, their families have had generations of education doing this type of industry. Look, I'm the first one. Well, I'm the first to graduate. My brother came behind me. He is older, but nonetheless. And so it's, I didn't know what to do. You got some extra money. You have so all of those things play into the why for me, and the passion of why we do what we do where we are, because somebody's got to teach those coming behind us, and in all ways, right? Whether it's just the finances, whether it's in business, people all the time will get on my calendar and say, "Hey, can we do a coffee chat?" Absolutely. I'm not going to turn you down. Now we're not going to talk for an hour, but we're gonna get started. We're gonna jump in and get some good nuggets out. But you never say no and not gatekeep.
So what I hear you ladies saying, you can be unified without being uniformed. I think that.
Ooh, say that.
That's good.
Say that again.
Can I write
Liz?
that down? That was
that's
good.
stolen.
Yeah, okay. You can be unified without being uniform. We just need to know what the agenda is. What do you ladies think about, and I heard you talk about the Community Reinvestment Act of 1977, if I'm correct on that. So I do my little
research.
Can you sign a T-shirt? No, just joking. When we look at the necessaries of banking, and this thing in Texas, and I'm interested in Texas because I'm a Texan,
right?
Through and through.
Okay.
Texas has Black-owned banks,
yes,
and credit unions, and there are a few of them, but their collective value is said. When I looked at the statistic, it says that collectively they are about $6 billion. How do you align them with the value latency of the things that you guys have just talked about, with $1 trillion plus large model banking institutions?
Right.
How do those models try and bridge gaps that are needed? When do our people under the unified umbrella, under the Rainbow Coalition, utilize these institutions, smaller institutions, versus larger model institutions?
I do both. I mean, I have money at my Black-owned bank. And then to Tiffany's point earlier when she talked about minority depository institutions, right? I know Chase, and I don't want to get the information wrong. I'll just go high level. I know we, for lack of a better word, mentor, right? Other minority banks, depository institutions. And what does that mentorship look like? It looks like walking with them with our systems, walking with them with our infrastructure, walking with them with how our tech team is doing different things, right? So there's a variety of ways that we partner with those minority depository institutions to uplift and to elevate as well.
So let me ask you this. Is there a specific scenario that comes to mind where you ladies have personally said, you might not be able to get the large institution to fund this or give resources for this, but let me suggest these other places to you? Does that ever occur when you're talking to people looking for money?
It does. Not necessarily with the MDI, but definitely with the CDFIs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because they're meant to work in a space where the financial institutions are not, right? They're a stopgap and they're a bridge. And the goal is for you to be able to use that bridge but not have to go back across, right? You cross that bridge with them, and then you get to the point where you don't need them again, and they can send you off to a traditional financial institution.
Okay.
Anything?
No, I think that was spot on.
Yeah.
So I'm from South Dallas. Tiffany, I know you're from South Dallas. And when I was growing up, there might have been, but I don't remember banks in South Dallas. I remember when they opened the Bank of America, and the Chase Bank came sometime later. And now we got all kinds of banks because South Dallas is a hot spot. I said all that, and it has nothing to do with my question. My question is...
Right. You just reflected. Okay.
My question is, what do your institutions do as far as financial literacy education for students in schools, specifically elementary schools?
I just lit up. I know,
right?
We love the babies. We love the babies. So I would say, and I don't want to speak holistically about financial institutions, but at Comerica, we have what we called a money sense curriculum that is specifically for pre-K through 12. So we have that model, and we feel young people are important because if you can plant a seed very early, the possibility of that kindergarten taking that knowledge and applying it when they're in intermediate, high school, and so forth. So it's important to expose and to educate at an early stage. So we have relationships with Dallas ISD, where we're working with schools over there. We have a relationship with the Dallas Metro YMCA organization where we've done a series of education. So you name it, we feel children, again, pre-K through 12th grade, deserve access and knowledge just as much as those who are older. And quite honestly, starting younger, the way that we understand information, the more we see it, we just retain it in a very different way. So it's been important for us to start there. Most recently, we did a huge partnership with United Way of Metropolitan Dallas, where we served over 500 students from Duncanville ISD, and they didn't necessarily have a financial education component to that day, but it was imperative as a partner for us to advocate for that being brought into the curriculum that they were going to do. So we gave them fictional careers where they could dream of all the STEM and traditional roles that they could. Every table had a different income, right? But they started very early saying, oh, first of all, I can earn this much money. I'm not limited to just this. And then once I have the money, it's up to me to make very healthy financial decisions about how I spend it. So I know that was a lot, but yes, we love the kids.
Yes. Similar, right? So earn, save, spend. We have money skills content, and that's going to be from 5 years old all the way up to college, right? So, and then young adults and so on and so forth. So we have literally curriculum for 5 years old all the way up to our senior citizens, from how to earn money initially to how to protect your assets as you age, right? All of and everything in between. But particularly for youth, I don't want to name names because I think I'll forget somebody and be like, we work with this and work with them.
And
then they're going to be like,
hurt.
oh my God. Right. But I will say we do a huge back to school event every year. Last year we did it with the Dallas Wings. And then this year, I don't know who Omar did it with, but we give out 1,000 backpacks with school supplies, and we do have that financial health component to it.
Now, does this have Chase's name on these backpacks?
You know it does not. It does
I was
not.
about to say.
But what it does have,
It's got something in there with Chase on it.
No, it's all your supplies are Chase free.
Okay,
But
good.
you come into that financial health
Yeah.
workshop.
Okay.
But what I love is when we do the workshops, and in particular when we're in schools, right?
Yeah.
And you're talking to the kids, and then they go home, and then the next time you see them, they see their parents not doing something that they learned, and they say, Miss Terri, or they'll say, I get Auntie, Chase Lady, Miss Terri, any of the three I
You're going to
answer
get them
to.
kids' ass whooped.
Yeah. Yeah, probably so. But you know what? You know they're listening and they're understanding.
Yeah.
Because we talk about it, and we talk about decisions, right? One of the ones I really love is it's like a little maze for our youngsters, and it talks about needs versus wants. And so for Carlos, I don't know, I'm just doing a name, to get to the end of the school day, he's got to decide, does he want a bicycle or does he need a place to live? Or, it's a game, not a bicycle. Or does he want, this versus that?
Yeah.
And so it starts very early with helping to understand what's a need versus what's a want. And then that can help lay the foundation for those good financial health conversations.
Ladies, recent article, when I say recent, 2025 article, Goldman Sachs Business. It's the whole thing, y'all. I see you perked up when I said Goldman Sachs. And I know we're talking about the positives of trying to get to the brass tacks of investment in business and loans and those things for the Black community. However, Goldman Sachs, in the article, and I'm quoting from the article here recently, like I said, says, Black small business owners continue to disproportionately face challenges assessing affordability capital with fair terms. And it cited the fair terms as access to capital, loan application disparities, and predatory payment terms from these large model institutions. What are your opinions about what are your banking institutions doing to nullify these things that are being cited by one of the largest banking institutions in the world?
Right. Absolutely. If the criteria is clearly released, right, and you need to have A, B, and C. Again, for me, with JP Morgan Chase, one of the things that we offer is that senior business consultant. And so they are going to walk you through and talk to you about what is required for A, B, and C. And, you asked about what does success look like. Well, when you have those conversations of someone who applied for a line of credit, they weren't able to get the line of credit. They went through the coaching program, right? And then they understood what their financials needed to look like. What does it need to say? How does it need to appear or be for you to get an approval? And then they come back and then they get the approval. And then they apply again a year later because their business is growing and they get an increase to that line of credit. So to nullify, I don't know that I can necessarily say we're doing something to nullify it, but I can say that we are very clear about what's required, and we've provided a resource to help guide you to these are the things that you need to look at and understand on your financials to get to the yes. Because we don't want to put someone in a position where they get a loan and then they can't pay it back. Because that's debt that's going to hurt them and not debt that's going to help them.
Tiff, I know you want to jump in here and provide some information for that question, but here, and I want to make sure that we're understanding these are recent sites where we're still talking about predatory payment terms and loan disparities and things of that nature. And my question, and I'll let you answer because I see you want to add something.
It's fine.
But where I was going with this is, are Black people justified in not trusting these banking institutions? And that's your opinion.
Right.
I don't want y'all in soup lines, and I don't want you going back facing your people and them. You said so and so.
Yeah. No.
But I want to have an honest conversation
Yeah, absolutely.
about what we're looking at, because this is a 2025 quote.
So part of me says, where's the data coming from? Right? Because you can get individuals to say, hey, they didn't approve me for this loan. Okay, how long have you been in business? I've been in business for 6 months. Okay, are you showing a profit? Are you, what's your cash flow look like? What are your projections? And they don't have an answer for any of that. So look at the pool too. I'm not saying it's not justified, because I'm at the end of the day, I'm banking while Black too. But we're
gonna get that shirt.
Yeah, right. You need to go on ahead and point it. But
it's just something I came up with. And if you don't have the
question,
have the answer, I don't expect for you guys to have all of the answers. Y'all not all, y'all not.
I am all seeing
the Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny around here. But
what you got to add?
That's tough.
It is. It's a tough
one. We might need to have a glass of wine the next time we get them on.
When Liz starts with the questions, can you change this water for wine?
I feel like there's a few ways to look at that, but what's it most important for me and what I feel led to say in this moment is to make sure that we are building relationship with the person and not just the institution, right?
Yes.
I feel like it's important for, if you even aspire to become a small business, those are conversations that should start with your consumer banker, your retail banker, right? So that you can be as educated and as informed early on as possible. I also think that the chemistry with your banker is important. So as you are exploring the right lending services, products, whatever that looks like, and you've received information from bank A to bank B, like you really need to make sure that, or we really need to make sure that we're doing our due diligence in relationship, because I feel like sometimes we're missing that, where we should feel empowered to explore all banking opportunities and options and not feel solely connected and immediately to one because that's what we've heard, that's what we've seen. Though banks have the same mission and we're all following the same guiding principles, the way that we provide products and services may look different. And I've seen even recently in 2025 where there's banks that are offering special credit programs or special incentives for small business owners and entrepreneurs to really get the access that they need. So I think that we have to expand our lens a little bit more to really do some shopping, just as we would for a car or a home, because it's important. And to what Terri said, we want you to be able to pay this back at the end of the day if it's a loan that you're getting or a line of credit. So just shopping around so that we can know what's out there for us.
So in the age of
that relationship part is crucial and key. Yeah, because, and I tell customers all the time, they'll say, oh, well, my relationship isn't that great with my investment advisor or my banker. Well, this is the person who's helping you create your wealth. You get to interview at the bank, right? If you don't care for this person, you can ask for another one. There is no rule that says you've got to be with the business banker that is assigned to you. You have to find, you've got to be comfortable.
That fits you.
That's right, because that's a person on your team that, you are not paying them, but you should have a banker, an attorney, insurance, and what's the L?
The CPA.
You have the CPA, the accountant, that one too. So yeah, you got to have the right team in place.
So in the age of AI, relationships still matter.
They do.
They do.
Imagine that.
Imagine it.
Relationship is not.
Okay, so I've introduced the term banking while black.
Yes.
Now I want to introduce the term owning while black.
Okay.
The
I like this one.
experience by the numbers is 6.5 years
Mm.
for owning a business for a black person. You frowning.
Yeah.
That's a statistic.
Yeah.
That
That's tough,
is
too.
another
That
one
we
of
gotta grow.
realisms.
Yeah, we got to grow.
Yeah. So access to capital, market opportunities, support and resources.
Right.
I'm starting to see a pattern here, ladies.
Well, it's
Okay.
part of that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there, to your point, is an ecosystem. It can't just be the financial institution that this is the requirement of. So we have, I happen to be founding member of the Collin County Black Chamber.
Shameless plug.
Yes, shameless. But we do have those resources, right? I also work with the NTTA, so I'm on their Business Development Advisory Council, and that's
a
Now,
whole
what
nother
is
show.
the NTTT?
It's a whole
the
nother
toll
show.
tag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because again, barriers for businesses. So we try to figure out how contracting, getting access to some of those things that are offered.
Yeah.
And so as the business owner, the onus is on you as well.
Yeah.
To pursue those other opportunities, because there are many of them out there. I'm always amazed at the things that we find out when we're doing different workshops or out in the community and talking to different individuals about different resources. And what the biggest hurdle, I think, is understanding where to go to find all of this information, because that's what's going to help sustain you. You've got to figure out, what does sustaining my business look like?
Yeah.
And yes, the bank is a portion of that.
Yeah.
But then the things that you are doing as well are going to be important also.
Okay.
And those resources are not typically in one place. She has to answer them. That's it. We got.
I just want to make a statement.
Okay.
No, it's a statement.
All right. Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Jump in.
So the only thing I can add on to that, the ecosystem is extremely important, and I think it's because within that ecosystem we understand our parameters and we understand our strengths and where we have opportunities. And so everyone represented within that ecosystem, it becomes like a web where we just come together and fit really nicely with services and capital and you name it. And so I heard, as you all were talking in this moment, just that access to information and to resources seems to be here, there, and in different spaces. And so one of the things that I know that's being worked on here in the city through sector partnerships in Dallas College specifically, this same conversation, how do we create access to a repository of these resources? Because we within the ecosystem may know X, Y, and Z or that person, but a business owner who's like, I'm just trying to
make it.
I'm trying to make it, right? And don't have time to kind of hop around and network all the time. I think this repository and initiatives like it is going to be really helpful because it becomes a one-stop shop. You know who your lenders can be. You know where you can get a little bit more education. You know where you can go when you're looking for advocacy and, support. So I think that those types of resources are going to truly be pivotal in how we move our businesses forward.
Okay. I was hearkening back to my great-grandmother's transitioning and the day that became a reality when we were cleaning out her space because she lived with us. We found money in mattresses.
Oh.
We found money in various places scattered throughout her room. And this became a sizable amount of money. And at the end of the day, my question to you guys is, are we at a time, given considerations to all the political fronts of the reality of government shutdowns and all of these things, are we at a point where now we need to pool our resources and move away from these large model institutions, as our history has suggested by what my grandmother believed, that your immediate access to those funds was so important to her that she wanted them right there in the house with you and not at an institution that may or may not close. And
We're going to leave with that question.
put that on your mind.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
there we go.
Okay. So this is the Making Black History Today podcast. What does Making Black History Today mean to you?
Making Black History Today for me means acknowledging the past of what our ancestors did, what they fought for, what they prayed for, recognizing that what we do today has heavy implications on what future generations' outcomes look like tomorrow. So I feel like Black history today is critical when you look at both past and future, because it all matters today in this moment. What we do, how we show up, the decisions we make.
Beautiful.
That was good.
It was.
It was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Making Black History Today for me.
We're going to have to stay a little longer. I should have started something else.
Okay. Look, you blamed it on me.
Spider, we need more
Okay.
time.
Yeah. But I would say it's like a baton, right? You think about a relay race, and I'm in a better position today than my mother was. So she passed that baton to me. I don't have any children, but I got a lot of guy kids and nieces and nephews.
Mm-hmm.
And so for Black History Today, I have to do and stand on business, right? The world today is different, and it's a lot of things going on. So you have to be intentional and think about all of the options, because I want them to be in a better place when I pass that baton to them than I am today. And so each generation levels up and moves forward and advances more. And so I need to make sure that I'm about my business and am understanding the things that I need to know to be able to pass on to them so that they stay and continue to be able to grow, because nothing is ever given to us, right? We know how to navigate in tough times. And so I need to make sure that when times are tough, we have all of the resources to do what we need to do to advance and to be successful and to be prosperous.
Love that.
Thank you, ladies, for your time with us today. We had a great time. We hope you did too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you,
And-
guys.
Thank y'all. And thank y'all for listening and watching. Please subscribe, follow, share, like. We'd love to read your comments. We'll see y'all in 2 weeks.